The Jacksonville Jaguars are coming off of their second straight Super Bowl championship, with Trevor Lawrence taking home MVP honors. And now it's time to go full GM mode in this series. First came the issue of Trevor Lawrence's contract. We couldn't let a 26-year-old quarterback with 2 rings hit the market. But it appears that's exactly what he wants to do. So we were forced to use a $50 million franchise tag on the man. I was contemplating not bringing Ekwonu back, but I offered him a fair deal, and he went ahead and accepted. Then we brought back Eddie Macklin as part of 3 players that are fighting for roster spots. They're very cuttable, the others being Tremaine Wilkins and Justin Credible. No other players would sign, the most disappointing being Daxton Hill, who would indeed hit the market and be a top free agent. Retirements have a couple of Texans and Titans hanging up the cleats, as well as Chandler Jones, Fletcher Cox, Teron Armstead, Darius Slay, Von Miller, and Kirk Cousins, among many others. The free agency glitch was back, showing that we are over-negotiating, even though I didn't send any offers out to anyone yet. So most of the good players were scooped up early, but I did make offers trying to get another star receiver to group with Hollywood Brown and Alex O'Neal, and Drake London was a part of those that I made runs at. I also sent an offer to Chris Olave. Then we also needed a punter, and I attempted to bring in AJ Cole, the best one free agency had to offer. Speaking of Alex O'Neal, we definitely picked up his 5th-year option to keep those negotiations at bay. In free agency, Russell Wilson signs with the Rams, Derek Carr goes to Pittsburgh while Kenny Pickett heads to Washington, Drake London spurns us, goes back to the Falcons and brings Juju Smith-Schuster with him, while Chris Olave and Corey Davis head to Chicago together. Ex-Jag Evan Ingram heads to the rival Colts, while David Ajabo and DJ Edwards bolster the Titans' linebacking core. Ex-Jaguars safety Dax Hill joins the Ravens, and AJ Cole spurns us for the 49ers. In a small trade-up, the Jaguars trade 3 4th-round selections to the Minnesota Vikings for the best pick, number 69. Nice. It was a strange draft, as I really didn't fall in love with any players in it, but we traded out of the first round to save a little bit of money and draft a backup quarterback in Jimmy Morant with the 3rd pick in the 2nd round. He has a huge arm and no insane weaknesses, so hopefully he can develop in case T-Law never does sign that long-term deal. Next, it was new wideout in James Rankin, another pick with no glaring weaknesses, and he's known for his hands and his 6'4", 225 frame. Our big body guy for sure. With our 2nd rounder, pick 64, we got guard Jerry Freeney. Him I really did like, and I was right about him being pretty solid. His issue, though, is power and general blocking technique, but he is super athletic and strong, fits our scheme well. First 3rd rounder was used on Carlos Bayless, the cornerback. Not the best in coverage, but he's known as a ball hawk, and we're hoping that he'll make some good plays should he get his chance to do so. Next up, free safety Jeremy Quinn with the 15th pick in the 3rd round. Needing some better safety depth without Dax Hill, that's exactly what Quinn is. Depth. Center Ed Strickland became pick number 96, and I thought he'd be better, honestly. His pass blocking leaves a good bit to be desired, and his technique lacks severely. With pick 97, we took a flyer on corner William Nix, and he surprised us. He's athletic with good hands, and he tackles better than some of the corners that I've seen out here. Gotta get that coverage up, though. 5th round, 3rd pick, punter Chris Huntington. Simply put, it was a need, so we took who we liked the most, and he's got okay power and very good kick accuracy. Also speedy for all those fakes we're about to run. Wink, wink. With the last pick in the 5th round, why not a flyer on another wide receiver? I know, I'm like Mr. Hurricane with running backs, only it's me and wideouts. But Von Strickland's fast, and I like speed. He surprisingly does better in traffic and spec catch than regular catching, too. And our final pick was tackle Terrence Pleasant in the 6th round, but he really is just depth, and he might even find himself on the practice squad. The top pick in the draft went to the Texans for quarterback Brendan Little, and he looks solid. There weren't many better players in the draft than him, so my speculation on this being a weaker class was correct. Houston gets a quarterback and a center, and Tennessee gets a linebacker and a safety. The Colts, they get a tackle, I guess. Hopefully that's it, and none of the other players develop into much of anything. A lot of guys on the practice squad were picked up by other teams like Tremaine Wilkins and Justin Credible, who I just mentioned earlier. We were ready to ride into the season with our starting players. Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, DeAndre Swift at running back with Deontay Bates, Hollywood Brown, Alex O'Neal, Bognasty, Walker, Strickland, and Rankin as all of our wideouts, Jaramillo and Maddox as the tight ends, O-line being Ekwonu, Westbrook, Santos, Broyles, and Hannon, no change there, Walker and Specht on the edge, Richards up the middle, Thibodeau, Harris, Williams, and Allen the backers, no changes so far, Diggs, Campbell, Gaynor, and Rogers at corner. We're going to play Gaynor in that third spot. Cisco and Bonds at safety, Mentor kicking, Huntington punting, and O'Neal returning kicks again. We were scheduled for 8 primetime games, including the opening Thursday nighter, obviously at home against the Colts for the second straight year. The NFC East and AFC North would be on our schedule this season as well. How would it go? Well, we started 2-0 with wins against the Colts and the Texans, but lost at home to the Packers in Week 3. And we beat the Ravens on the road before dropping a game at home to the Patriots to be 3-2 before our bye in Week 6, another early bye. Came off the bye with a loss in Denver on Monday night, a win in Tennessee to go 3-0 in division. Then we lost to the Bengals on Sunday night before beating the Texans on Thursday Night Football in a very short week, and the Giants the next Sunday after that. We lost by 1 point in Dallas on Thanksgiving, and it started a derailment as we lost our first division game by 21 points, our worst loss all year at home to the Titans, and that was followed by another bad loss by 19 in Cleveland, before we finally won a game in Philly by 4 points on Monday Night Football. At 7-7, we lost on Sunday night to the freaking Commanders to go 2-2 versus the NFC East, and we lost by 34 in Indy to go 4-2 in division and drop to 7-9 on the season before finally winning at home over Pittsburgh and Derek Carr to finish 8-9. The Browns won the AFC home field advantage with the Ravens and Bengals taking 2 of 3 wild cards. Titans go to 10-7 and they take the South as we finish in second place, giving up 490 points on the year. Dolphins and Jets make it out of the East, and the Chiefs win the West quite easily yet again. In the NFC North, it's the Packers and the Vikings. The South sends the Panthers and the Bucks, Cowboys and Commanders in the East, and finally the 49ers in the West. So both the Jags and the Seahawks do miss the playoffs, last year's Super Bowl participants. Trevor Lawrence had a solid year with 4,700 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 18 picks. Swift goes for nearly 1,200 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Bates gets 9 scores. Alex O'Neal and Hollywood Brown go over 1K with 10 TDs, and David Bognasty has a 10 TD year as well with 942 yards. Daniel Jaramillo goes for 798 and 9 touchdowns at the tight end spot. The line did well as nobody gave up more than 9 sacks. Defensively, we were underwhelming. We had 2 guys with 200 tackles last year, not now. 15.5 sacks for Walker and 13 for Allen is nice though. 5 picks for Trayvon Diggs certainly isn't 20 like last year, and the only other picks were the 2 by Campbell. Mentor was 11 out of 15, not 44 out of 52, and Huntington was fine, and O'Neal, 0 return touchdowns. A rarity. Playoff matchups: Jets at Dolphins, Bengals at Chiefs, Ravens at Titans, Vikings at Panthers, Bucks at Niners, and Commanders at Packers. We skip ahead. Jets not only beat the Fins, but they take out the top-seeded Browns. Bengals and Ravens meet, with the Bengals throttling their division rivals to meet the Jets for the AFC title. In the NFC, Panthers take care of business against the Vikes, but they get beat by the Commanders, who upset the Packers. The Bucks then upset the Niners, and they get beat by the top-seeded Cowboys, so it'll be Cowboys-Commanders in the NFC, a nice rivalry matchup. Since the Jags have made 3 straight Super Bowls, it's been a while since they've had a Pro Bowler. So who made it this time? Hollywood Brown, Alex O'Neal, Daniel Jaramillo, Trayvon Walker, and Trayvon Diggs. Shoutouts to Safety Beast, D-Tackle Chris P. Bacon, tight end Rigoberto Ramirez Jr., and wide receiver A.J. Chambers for making the Pro Bowl as subscriber players. An epic game in Cincy sees the Bengals pull out a 51-43 win to get to the big game over the Jets and meet the Commanders, who end up upsetting the Cowboys 24-16. 2 8-point games. Wow. And the Bengals are Super Bowl champions for the first time ever with a 26-24 win over the Commanders. Kenny Moore II, the MVP of the Super Bowl. Joe Burr, the MVP of the league. Mike McCarthy wins Coach of the Year for the Cowboys. Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year. DeForest Buckner for Defensive Player of the Year, and watch out, Brendan Whittle gets Offensive Rookie for Houston, while the Saints defensive end Jamarcus Samuels is Defensive Rookie of the Year. I do hope you enjoyed this format because I'm likely going to be posting these from now until about episode 27, which would be 5 years of this, before maybe one big simulation to end it off at episode 28. But I could be persuaded in the comments for those of you who still keep up with the series. My plan is to watch games in the playoffs and have highlights when we do make it, but we didn't make it this time. If you've been keeping up with the series, thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you for the incredible support. I could not do it without you. Special thanks to the channel members keeping the dream alive. Super special thank you to the franchise QBs, TClink24, Christian Horn, Colby Gaynor, Rigoberto Ramirez, and Troy Gordon. Our only general manager as well, Matthew Hackett. I love all of you.